Hi one and all. So in the previous classes we were discussing about the recorders. I mean more specifically we revisited the recorders and we discussed about screen scraping wizard, right? This is also one of the interesting tool which comes with the UiPath Studio, right? And we covered the three methods used by the scraper wizard, namely full text, native method and OCR, which stands for optical character recognition, right? And we discussed the advantages and disadvantages of all these three methods, right? And then we demonstrated that practically how to deal with the attributes, I mean the scrapping methods, and where you can see the result, right? For review purpose. Clear? Okay. And we learned about Microsoft OCR and Google OCR. Google OCR is also called as an Tesseract OCR, right? And we also learned, suppose if we need a third party OCR, then we learned how to install that in the UiPath Studio, right? And then I asked you two people to do an exercise like this. So to as an example for this, I will take one more example in today's class. So after discussing that example, I am going to explain one more interesting concept called how to avoid the typical failure points, right? So before coming to this, we shall take a simple example, I mean an image as an input, and we shall try to extract the text present in an image, I mean similar to this particular case, right? So directly I will jump into the tool. Okay, this is the environment that we are using in order to create the robots, right? Okay, I have taken an empty sequence, right? And the input for our case is this. So this is actually an image. Can you see it is actually an image. Okay, and we want to extract the text present in this image, right? Let us use this as our target. Okay, now how to start the screen scraping wizard? Can you see an icon here or a label with an icon called screen scraping? Just click it on this and choose the area or the target. So this is our target. So I have chosen this as our target, and now you can go ahead with the different methods available in the tool in order to review your result, right? Okay, can you see here the basic method that it has used is full text method, and it has extracted the text present in this image. Actually this is an image. Can you see here? This is an image. Zooming in, zoom out. Clear? Okay, that text has been retrieved here. Okay, clear? Okay, similarly if suppose if you assume that this method fails to extract the content, then you can choose the native method, and we shall see now whether native method will work. So now so here native method has failed. So like this is what I said in the last class. If you find that full text or native method does not work, then you can go with an OCR, and you can check for Microsoft OCR. Okay, if that Microsoft OCR again fails to extract, then you can choose with an Tesseract. Okay, like that, or UiPath screen OCR, like that. Okay, depending on the requirement, I mean the result and the time. Okay, you can choose which OCR method is suitable, it suits your requirement. Clear? Okay, so this is what I asked you to try this by yourself in the last class. Okay, now we want to discuss the last concept but not the least, called avoiding typical failure points, right? Okay, first we shall understand theoretically so what are these, and then we shall go ahead with this practically with help of a tool. Clear? Okay, see here, this is the scenario that usually RPA developer or any developer will faces, right? When implementing or when building the robots, usually we may insert the errors, and that errors may cause the failure to fail the robot execution, right? So and we shall see which are those failure points that usually we may insert while building the robots, and how to tackle with them. I mean how to find those errors and how to deal with those errors. This is what the meaning says here. Clear? So we shall these are the entities, or the following entities are usually used to tackle the failure points, which usually we may face while building the robots. Clear? So selectors are one of the entity which is helps us to deal with the failure points and scope of the variable, delay activity, element exist activity, and try catch, toString methods. So usually these are the common or the I can say common entities usually used to deal with the failure points. Clear? But don't think that this is the only set that is available for you to deal with the failure points. Okay, so for the time being, understand these are the common entities that you can use to deal with or to avoid typical failure points. Clear? Okay, now we shall go one by one. Okay, so according to the author, see here, sometimes it is judicious to deal with the selector, it seems. Why means the selector will have attributes, title and class properties, it seems. I have already shown you in the previous class what are this, right? Right, and how to deal with this. Clear? Okay, at a high level, your author is telling that it is very difficult or somewhat difficult to deal with the selectors, because usually selectors has properties, attributes like title, class, etc. and so on. And the problem with the selector is when you select a UI element, it captures its properties. I mean, the meaning of this is, so when you choose the target element, okay, suppose if you choose the notepad editor as a target element, okay, then automatically the some of the properties or attributes will be chosen by the tool itself. Okay, I will give an example. Moreover, you already have seen this in the previous classes also. Okay, and these properties will differ. This is the reason why usually it is difficult to deal with the selectors. See here, these properties will differ, it seems, when we select the UI element of a different instance. So this is what this is the I can say point where usually the robot will fail to do its task. The why means the properties of the target element will change when you change the instance of, or when you create a new instance of the same application, it seems. Clear? Okay, I will give an example of this, don't worry. And hence the property will differ. Since the property will differ, the selector will fail to recognize the same UI element or the target element. Clear? Okay, let me clarify this with a simple example, and then we shall go ahead with the solution. I mean, we shall discuss how to fix or how to deal with this problem. Clear? Okay, now I will jump into the tool. Okay, now I'll jump into the tool. Okay, now let us assume this is our target element. Okay, this is our target element. Okay, now just for understanding, I will use an activity called type into. Okay, type into. Okay, I want to type hello on this notepad. I mean, this is the target element. Clear? Okay, now okay, I will say, let us assume I have entered one. Now I can treat this instance is different from the new instance. So this is a new instance, but this instance is similar to the new instance. Clear? Okay, just observe, this is a new instance, this is the previous instance. Okay, but now we shall choose this as a target element, and we shall see what about the selector values. It is interesting, little bit interesting. Okay, again I will choose the same type into. Okay, I want to type here hello itself, or let me choose hi. Okay, then I will choose this as our target UI element. Clear? Now if you look at the selector, see, to view the selector, just click on these three horizontal lines and choose edit selector, and see here the selector, these are the attributes, like app is an attribute, class is an attribute, and title is an attribute, and the values of app is notepad.exe, class is notepad, and title is untitled notepad. Clear? Okay, but if you look at this selector, okay, so see here, app is notepad itself, class is notepad. Okay, but see here, the title value or the attribute title value has been changed. It is something like star. Can you see here, star untitled notepad? But if you look at this selector, and if you look at the title, there is no star here. and there is no star here. Clear? So this is what the author was telling that. The author was telling that okay, the selector properties or to deal with the selector generally is difficult because the properties will differ. Okay, when the instance of that same application changes or for a new instance. Clear? Okay, how to deal with this, let me so before this we shall try to execute the same scenario. And now what we are trying to do is we want to write hello hi to this target UI element. Okay, now I will run the robot and we shall see what will happen here. Okay, see here, now it is waiting for the target UI element, or you can understand that it is searching for the target UI element. Okay, but after some time it will fail because it is looking for a target element with the title just only untitled notepad. See here, I can prove this. Okay, I think timer expires, so now it has been failed. Okay, just to prove that okay, I will stop the debugger explicitly. Okay, now again I will run the robot. Okay, now I will create a new instance. Can you see there? Okay, see here, but it did not recognize this, but it has recognized the new instance because the selector value for this is different from this. Clear? Okay, this is what I was telling that, but my requirement is even the title of this target UI element changes, it should recognize that and it should do the operation in the same notepad itself. I mean this notepad itself. How to deal with this? So to deal with this, we have an way called wildcard characters. So there are two wildcard characters are available in UiPath. One is question mark. You already aware of this, where you have deal with regular expressions. So this is used to replace one character, whereas star is used to replace a number of characters. And where to use this wild character is an interesting point. Okay, usually you can use these wild characters, either question mark or star, depending on the requirement, for the variable or for the attribute that name changes continuously. Okay, that changes continuously. You see here, if you look at the selector, see app is notepad itself, class is notepad, okay, title is untitled notepad for this case, and for this case, if you look at the selector, same notepad exe is same, notepad okay is same, but only the value of the title attribute is changing, right? So this is the place where you can introduce wild characters. Okay, and how to do this? Go to this selector and don't look for the title untitled. Okay, let it have a title okay, beginning with something star or one untitled notepad or two untitled notepad for that matter, because see here only one character is changing here in the target element. I have used the wild character question mark. You can use star also, no problem. Click OK, and now let us try whether this idea will work or not. Can you see that? Now it is working. So previously we had a fault, and that's why the UiPath Studio, the robot was ending with an exception or halting its process abruptly. Now that failure has been handled successfully, okay, or it has been avoided successfully by using the concept called wild characters, okay, or at an high level selectors. This is what this is what I was telling, that now we have successfully learned one of the entity to deal with the failure points. Now we shall go with the scope of the variable entity. So this is also an interesting. So you already are aware of a variable and its scope in C or in C++ or Java environment. The same scenario even it will occur here. So the author is telling that sometimes we may create a variable inside a sequence or a flowchart or do activity or any activity for that matter. In doing so, the scope of the variable is limited to only that activity, it seems. Means if you create a variable inside the do activity, then its scope will be limited to do activity, it seems. Clear? I will demonstrate this with an example. Okay, and if what is the problem with that? If you try to access a variable outside that do while activity or while activity, then it cannot be accessed, it seems. Okay, then if you want to solve that failure point, then you have to change the scope of the variable, it seems. Okay, now we shall understand this with an practical example. Okay, now I will delete this. Okay, I will choose while activity. Okay, and I will use an assign activity. Okay, and I will use a variable I, okay, with the value 0. So here I need to create a variable. So already there was a variable deleted. Okay, I need a variable called I. It should be of type integer, and the scope will be, because it is inside the sequence, okay, 0. Clear? Okay, and condition, you already are familiar with this, how to specify the condition, how to work with the assign activity. That's why I'm not explaining in depth. Okay, then here I can write one more assign activity. Okay, then I can increment the loop I equal to something I plus 1. Then I will take one more assign activity, and I will create a variable that is called inside. Okay, inside, and with the value 1, or with a value 10. Okay, you can I need a variable, that's it. Okay, I need to create a variable called inside. Okay, and the scope, look at here is the body, because I have created that variable inside this body. Clear? Okay, and change the type to integer, so that you can avoid this error. Clear? Okay, now see here, if I run this, it won't create a problem, or you can see here, because parallel it will do the compilation, there is no error here. Clear? Okay, but if I try to access that inside variable outside the while loop, like this, for example, just displaying the value of inside variable, now it will throw an error. Okay, now it will throw an error. If you want to see that error, can you see here? Inside is not declared, it may be inaccessible. Okay, now in this case it is declared, but it is inaccessible. Clear? It is inaccessible. So this is the failure point, and how to deal with this failure point now? To deal with failure point, now what you have to do is, you need to change the scope which has been created inside the body. Okay, currently the scope of the variable is body, to the sequence, so that it is available throughout the sequence. Now you can't you will not find that error. Can you see here? Now it is running. Clear? Now it is running. So this is what the scope of the variable is. Okay, and we learned with a simple example how to avoid such kind of failures by changing the scope of the variable, right? Okay, now you already have learned delay activity. So the one simple example is, so while creating an automation, you may need an instance of an application. Okay, but that instance of the application may not be available immediately, but it will be available after some time. So if you come across situation like this, then you can use a delay activity to introduce some delay. The reason is to wait for that application to be active. Then once it is present or active, then you do the or execute the rest of the logic. This is the idea. So clear? Okay, I won't again repeat this. I have already demonstrated about delay activity in the last class itself. Okay, and even we have seen element exist. This is also one of the way to avoid typical of failure points. If I want to demonstrate quickly, okay, about element exist. Okay, but if you need an example for delay activity, also no problem, I can demonstrate it. Clear? Okay, with an assumption saying that I have already demonstrated delay activity, I am not demonstrating delay activity here. But again, if you need me to ask to demonstrate delay activity, I can demonstrate this. Okay, now I'm going with an element exist, which even this we already have seen. Okay, okay. Now let us take type into itself. Okay, now I will create a new instance. Okay, now this is our, let us assume this is our target UI element. Okay, this is our target UI element. Okay, actually I have to specify the type into, right, this area, because that is the area where it allows us to type the content, right? Hello, hello, right? Okay, okay. Now see here, if that element is present, then it will write hello. Okay, then it will complete its task, right? But let us see this case. Let us see this case. Now the target UI element is not present. See here, now the target UI element is not present. Now in this case, what happens? Obviously it will wait for some milliseconds or some seconds generally. Then obviously it will end up with an exception or stopping its process abruptly, right? Okay, so to save the time, I will stop immediately here. So how to deal with this, problem, or how to handle this problem properly, then see here, we can use an element exist here before this. Okay, now I want to check for this element. Okay, I want to check for this element if that element exists. So you remember, have you remembered that element exists results, or it will return values in the form of a boolean value, right? Okay, I don't need this I now. Okay, I will delete this. I don't need this inside, delete this. Okay, I need a variable called res, which should be of type boolean. Okay, now I will store the result in the variable called res, which is actually a boolean value. Then I will use if else. Okay, if result, I mean if result has a value true, then you perform this. Okay, just I'm dragging and dropping that. Okay, if result value is true, then do this. Otherwise you give a message to the user saying that target is not present. Okay, target is not present. Okay, then see here, now and another few things that you need to do it here is timeout. I want instantly, so it has to wait for 1 millisecond. Then it has to decide based on result value. It has to decide whether it has to type or whether it has to just display a message called target is not present. Clear? Okay, now let us verify target is present here. Target is present. If it is present, what it has to do? Then it has to type hello immediately. See, it has done the job. Clear? Okay, now target is not present, or the target UI element is not present. Now we shall see whether we can get an acknowledgement immediately. See here, yeah, target is not present. So this is how you can tackle with the failure points. Clear? Okay, okay. And there is one more interesting concept present in UiPath Studio called try catch. I think you have heard this word even in Java. Usually this is used to deal with the exceptions. For the time being, understand exceptions are runtime errors, or I mean the errors which will occur at runtime or during execution. And we will have a separate chapter number 8, where we will see in depth about how to deal with the try catch keywords to deal with the runtime errors. Clear? Okay, for the timing, understand usually the suspicious activities means make it simple. Usually the statements which may throw an error, usually those statements will be enclosed in the try block. Okay, and what you will put in the catch block is the actions. I mean, if the statement present in the try blocks throws an error, then what you had to do, that will be specified in the catch block. Okay, I will come back to this in depth in the coming classes, don't worry about this. And usually you have seen a method called toString. As the name itself says, it will convert the value of a variable, non-string variable, to a string representation. That's what it will do. And even you may have experienced this many times, especially in the initial classes, when we are trying to display the value in the message box, it was throwing an error. Why? Because every input and output operations will be performed in a string form. And how to avoid this? Just use the toString method. Okay, immediately if I want to demonstrate that, okay, quickly, just I will take an assignment activity and I will create a variable. Okay, I will create a variable with value 12. Okay, I don't need this result variable. Okay, variable with integer value. Okay, with integer value, then I can use message box, then v here. Okay, so internally it is using the toString method here, and it is converting the 12 integer value to 12, and then it is displaying. I can prove this. So even if you call toString, okay, it won't throw us an error. Side. Okay, right. Okay, for better understanding, I will go with an can we go with an boolean value? Okay, boolean. Since it is a boolean, it should be either true or false. Okay, now we shall display the value of a boolean variable. Yeah, this is also implicitly it is using toString method, and hence you are getting toString. But if you deal with the other variables like objects, can you see here, objects or data table, and if you want to convert that data table to a string, then obviously you have to go with an toString representation. Clear? Okay, with this I will end the session. Okay, and I can say that we have reached the end of the chapter number 5. Okay, which falls under unit 3, and in the next class we shall start with chapter number 6. Okay, and in the coming classes, okay, I will give also an example for where actually toString method will play a very important role. Moreover, you already have seen this in the last classes itself. Okay, once again I will demonstrate that. Okay, and if you have any doubt with respect to the activities or the entities just now we discussed in today's class, which helps us to deal with the failure points, if you have any doubt with regarding this or screen scraping wizard, you can contact me either through WhatsApp or through a mail. Clear? Okay, with this I will end the session, and thank you one and all.